Hi guys! We figured it's probably time to give you a status update as to what's going on in our life right now and what's going on with our channel.
So right now we both are still working full-time 40 hours a week each. Teresa's a hairstylist and I'm doing instructional design work for a company, and we haven't left our jobs yet.
I love my job a lot of the time, but the more we make plans for the future that we're trying to build and work toward, the less patient I am with the clients that I don't love as much. Fortunately, most of my clients are amazing, but it's good, but it's getting hard to do this and work.
I'm ready for a change. My work has become a lot of busy work and data entry, less creativity, videoing, and less instructional design, so it'll be nice to focus on that a little bit more. But it's a long process. When we posted on rv.net and said, this was probably 2 or 3 months ago, said we want to be on the road in 6 months, everyone just laughed at us and said, that's never going to happen. There's too much to do to get on the road full time. It's going to take you at least a year. Well, we want to be on the road before a year, but there's a lot of little things to work out. Health insurance, bank accounts, businesses, taxes, all sorts of stuff. Our vehicle, but...
And I feel like the job thing is probably going to be the last thing to click into place.
Yeah, so even if we had a trailer today, we couldn't leave without a job that allowed us to be mobile. So we'd love to have a trailer now, but we've kind of slowed down on the shopping, mainly because we're trying to get everything else in place. And that brings me to the next part. Why aren't we shopping for RVs right now?
Well, for starters, we have a lot of work to do on our van, Fred, which you guys may have seen in our video. Fred needs some work to get dialed into where we want anyway, and he's taking so much time that it doesn't make sense to put a lot of energy into continuing to shop for our travel trailer at the moment, because we're pretty busy with that and work and all the other stuff.
Yeah, totally. The van is an awesome van, but it needs a little bit of maintenance. It's got an oil leak. The suspension on it, even though it's four-wheel drive, which is awesome, the suspension on it's really stiff and not super safe for going long distances for 2 to 5 years, you know. So while we're at a place where we can work on it, we're going to be doing a lot of work on the van. We're replacing all the suspension, replacing the front and rear axles, replacing the brakes, replacing a lot of the interior. We're putting a stereo in it. We're going to just make it a nice van that we want to be in going around the U.S. for the next 5+ years. So that's going to take some time. Fortunately, we're going to do a build video series on that. We've got a great sponsor, U-Joint Off-Road, who's hooking us up with some great parts to fix the suspension so it's not rigid and harsh and nice and compliant over the bumps. So yeah, every spare minute, so we work 8 hours a day, come home, and then I go wrench on the van or tear an axle apart or do the brakes for 3 to 5 hours every night. So, and then we try to film it, which takes a lot of time, and then we have to edit the filming and upload it, which is fun. We do it. It's a labor of love, but we're not getting paid for it, and
it's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time. So that's why our progress seems a little bit slow.
Yeah. And, you know, we realized that this part of the process, it might not be that interesting to some people, and no offense taken, but we did feel like it was something that we wanted to capture. We wanted to be authentic about it and just show you guys what our process is like as we get to the point where we can leave and go RV full-time.
So let's talk about why we bought a van and kind of how we decided on that. So even though you've only seen 1 or 2 videos of us shopping for RVs, we have been to 15+ dealers and spent who knows how many hours, over 30, 40 hours shopping for RVs. So even though it may not look like we're doing much of that, we're doing a ton. We're just not filming it. We need to start filming it a little bit more. Even
though we looked at a lot of Class A's and Class C's, for a number of reasons we decided to go with something else. Part of it was a lot of the cars we were looking at for tows weren't going to be great vehicles to tow behind you, or they'd be great to tow, but they wouldn't get us the places that we want to go when we backpack and hike and do those kinds of things.
Yeah, we travel on a lot of dirt roads, and so to get a 4x4 that we tow behind the RV, it would be something like a 4Runner or a Tacoma or a Jeep or something, and those don't get fantastic mileage. So you couple the poor mileage of the Class A or Class C with a pretty large toad. It's, you know, this isn't a smart car or a little Honda Civic. It's a bigger car that's a little bit harder to tow, longer length. It just started feeling a little bit big and cumbersome. But we weren't willing to give up our access to dirt roads. We travel dirt roads a ton. It's a big part of our recreation, and we need a car that can do that. So the more we thought about Class A's and Class C's, the less appealing they became. Plus, they're huge. They're expensive. If you buy used, there's a ton of maintenance. If you buy new, there's a ton of maintenance. So, you know, So we decided not to do that, especially after we checked out Ryan's van in that one episode. When we went and checked out his van and thought about that, it started to feel right for us.
Once we started looking at the vans, it just seemed like such a good solution. You know, if we were going to have a bigger toad, if we go with, you know, the van anyway, which is also big or even bigger, it solves another one of our problems, which was giving us a place to enclosed store the bikes and the camping gear and all that, as well as being something that we could sleep in, kind of break off from our bumper pull for a few days or weeks at a time.
Yeah, that was super appealing. The idea of leaving the camp trailer at camp and then going off and exploring for a few days, sleeping in the van if we need to, but having all our kayaks, all our bikes and sleeping bags and stoves and all that gear in the van already, that was really appealing. So the more we explored that, the more we realized, hey, this is exactly what we need to do. So the van's not fun to drive. It's big. I mean, as a regular vehicle, it's big. It's tall with the 4x4, and if you have a 4x4 van, it has to be tall because of the way the axle has to have clearance for cross members and stuff. But it'll take us where we want to go. We can detach it. We could go do a trip to Alaska with no trailer if we wanted to and live out of the van, sleep inside of it, cook inside of it. So it gave us a lot of options, and it started to feel right for us. There's a lot of room in there. With the Class A's and C's, we were having a really tough time storing our bikes. If you're not a biker, you're not going to understand this problem, but we refused to just put our bikes on a trailer hitch and hope they didn't get stolen. That was a bad plan. Our bikes are worth more than most toads, and we don't want them out in the elements anyway. So being able to keep them in the van was a huge selling point for us.
Yeah, and you know, we've said this before, we don't actually know what our life will be like when we're on the road to a great extent. But, you know, the van was really appealing enough that we felt like, let's commit to that and let's do it and see. If things change, great, but we feel pretty good about it right now.
Yeah.
We'll give it a go.
So emotionally, how you doing?
It's been tough, especially coming off of our backpacking trip, which was really great. I really needed the break. But coming back from that, getting back into, you know, we're editing videos, Steve's spending a lot of time working on the van, like we said, and having to work, it's exhausting, and it's not any different than before we left on the backpacking trip, but I'm just finding this week is it's hard to get going again.
One silver lining when we came back from the 90-mile backpacking trip in the Wind Rivers was we had a ton more followers on YouTube, and we really appreciate that. That's a large in part due to Melissa Alexandria giving us a big shout out, and Nora Minimalist Sparrow. We really thank them, and we thank all of you guys for finding us and subscribing. It means a lot. That was great to come back and find tons more subscribers had followed us. I'm also feeling it though. It's I want to be on the road now, but there's a lot of things that need to be done. It's hard to come home after work and know that there are 40 projects on the van that take about 3 to 10 hours each, that if I just go up and watch a movie, my van's not progressing and we're not taking a step toward our dream. So we really haven't done a whole lot of recreation lately, and I have to remind myself and force myself to get that good work-life balance, because It's easy for me to just put my nose to the grindstone, work till 2 a.m. every morning on the van, and get it done in 3 months. But our quality of life during those 3 months isn't that great. And one thing I've learned in my life is how important it is to have a good work-life balance. And so we're going to keep hiking, we're going to keep camping, we're going to keep mountain biking and hanging out with friends. But I feel the pressure because even though it's September, we're getting snow in the tops of the mountains, and I feel winter looming. And here in Salt Lake City, winters are not super mild when you're working on a van outside, not in a garage. So I feel the pressure to get that done. So hopefully in the next month or two, we get the van pretty much buttoned up towards driving again. Just living in a van alone is probably too small for us for what we like to do. If we didn't have bikes or kayaks or camping gear, we could live in a van, but we really want a home, and so we're going to get a travel trailer. As you know, we loved the Airstreams. They were super well built, but I think there still could be a better solution for us out there. Airstreams are great, but there are some disadvantages too. I shouldn't say that. Airstreams aren't great. Airstreams are amazing. They're super well built, super light, tow great, fantastic design, open windows. We could go on and on. But I do feel like there could be a better solution for us because we want to boondock 50% of the time. Airstreams aren't super boondockable. People do it, and we're going to get a lot of comments from Airstreamers saying we're crazy and saying that. But in general, I think there's a gap missing in the market. I think someone needs to make a great trailer that's well insulated, big enough to live in, but set up for boondocking. No blackwater tank. They're running composting toilets so you can have bigger freshwater and gray water tanks, built-in solar panels, built-in inverters, all LEDs, just more ground clearance, a little bit beefier frame, just something that's meant for not plugging into a cement pad every night. I think there's a lot of people in a similar situation to us that want a sort of tiny house on wheel that's self-sustaining off the grid that you don't have to plug in all the time. If that's something you're interested in, post up, let's hear it. We'd love to hear if we're not the only ones looking for that, but I think there'd be a huge market for that.
Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys watching and subscribing, and we really appreciate all the people who have reached out to us. It means a lot. You guys have been amazing, and we really appreciate all the support and encouragement.
Absolutely. You guys are the best. We get so many positive comments. Every now and then we get the negative comment, and as new YouTubers, we're learning how to deal with that and how to process it or how to just ignore it. It's hard. It's amazing how the one or two trolls will ruin your day based on just rude things they say. But we're super lucky because we don't have a ton of trolls, and we have 1,600 amazing supportive people supporting us in this journey. So that's been fun. We're going to keep going on adventures for now, sticking around here in Utah. We got a Moab trip coming up in the next month or two. If you would like to connect with us sometime and join us on some adventures, whether we're hiking or mountain biking or just going for a nice drive, let us know. We're always looking for more people to hang out with. We're afraid that when we hit the road, we're going to be real lonely and not have hiking partners and stuff. So what we want to do in the future, we want to hear about your state, the best places to visit there, maybe hook up with you, have some dinner, and go on a hike or two with you there. And if you're ever in Utah or coming this way, we'd be happy to show you around, because even though we've been exploring Utah almost every weekend for the last 5 years, we feel like we've barely scratched the surface. But we know Utah pretty well. We know a lot of the cool areas to go, and we'd be happy to play tour guide to some friends. So if that's interesting to you and you're heading out this way, let us know. Any full-timers out there watching us, if you're passing through Utah, please connect. We'd love to interview you, chat with you, and take you on some of our favorite hikes and show you all the great boondocking spots. Utah is 70% public land, and so we have so many amazing boondocking spots that are totally free. So anyway, that's that. Sorry for the rambling. We thought you guys deserved an update to know where we're at in time and space and with our brains and
we
what
do
we're
still
thinking.
want to RV full time.
We do. We really do.
We're just trying to do it right so that we don't wind up back here in 2 months in a bad situation.
Absolutely. We haven't seen a whole lot of people transition from living in a brick and mortar house to full-time. The people we follow, we just started watching them once they were full-time, and so it's been a learning process for us. It takes a long time to sell all your stuff, to get your job in order, to get your insurance in order, get your taxes in order, get your mailing address in order, get all your registration in order, get your vehicle sound and ready, and it's a long process. We don't want to discourage you, but for us, even though we're gung-ho and going for it, it's taking us longer than we had hoped, unfortunately, but we're trying to stay patient, trying to stay positive. We really do want to be out on the road, but for the next 2 or 3 months, you're just going to be hearing about our van and what we're working on it, getting it ready. But that's exciting, because vans are cool, and you need a good tow rig that's totally reliable, and we don't believe in car payments, so we always buy our cars cash, which means there's always a few things that we need to fix on them. So I know it'd be really ideal to just go plop down 40 grand on a brand new tow rig, but that's not how we roll. So anyway, thanks for watching. You guys are the best. Keep us posted. Let us know what you want to hear about more. We love your feedback, love your comments. See you soon.
You guys are awesome.